The story begins with a sudden, heart-pounding invasion. The screen shows a beautiful, peaceful Earth from space, but that peace is shattered within seconds. A fleet of alien ships, sleek and menacing, suddenly appears above the planet. They are the Zartans, a race of technologically advanced beings who have conquered countless worlds across the galaxy. Now, their sights are set on Earth, a planet they believe is nothing more than a dangerous, untamed Deathworld, too harsh for their kind to inhabit, and too weak for them to worry about. But they are wrong. Without warning, the Zartans launch an orbital bombardment from their massive warships. Hundreds of ships line up in the sky, unleashing hell. Massive beams of light rain down from space, striking Earth's major cities, New York, Tokyo, Paris, and London. Within minutes, these once thriving metropolises are reduced to rubble. The devastation is so sudden and powerful that there is no chance for defense. Buildings crumble, fires rage, and the world's population is caught completely off guard. The camera zooms in on the chaos as Earth's cities burn, and the sound of destruction fills the air. As the bombardment continues, we are introduced to Sarah Hunter, the story's lead protagonist. She is a seasoned military officer, strong and determined. She stands at the command center of a remote military base, her eyes fixed on the screen as she watches her world being torn apart. The once vibrant Earth is now a war zone, and Sarah can only watch in disbelief as the very place she vowed to protect is being reduced to nothing. Her fists clench at her sides, her jaw tight with anger and fear. The weight of the situation is crushing. Suddenly, the Zartans' leader broadcasts a message to Earth. His voice is cold, filled with arrogance. He claims that Earth is nothing more than a primitive Deathworld, a place full of dangerous wildlife and harsh conditions. Your kind is weak, the alien leader sneers. We are the Zartans, masters of the galaxy. You stand no chance. This world will bow to us, and your pathetic resistance will be crushed. As the message plays, Sarah's eyes narrow with determination. She knows the Zartans are wrong. Earth might be a dangerous place, but it is also home to resilient people, people who have survived against the odds. She has seen humans rise from the brink of destruction before. This time, she knows they will do it again. The military base goes silent, the gravity of the situation weighing heavily on everyone in the room. Sarah turns to her team, a group of soldiers who have seen countless battles but are now faced with a fight unlike any other. They are surrounded by the wreckage of a once powerful Earth, but they are not giving up. The team's faces show fear, but also an unshakable resolve. The Zartans might think they have won, but Sarah and her team are not done. Not yet. The camera cuts to Sarah as she steps forward, her voice low but filled with authority. We're not going to wait around for them to finish what they've started, she says, her eyes hardening with the weight of what is to come. We will strike back. Her words hang in the air, and there is a brief moment of silence. The team exchanges glances, the weight of the decision settling in. Then, one by one, they nod, their faces set in determination. Sarah's team is ready to fight, even if the odds are stacked against them. They are not going to let Earth fall without a fight. As Sarah speaks, the camera cuts back to the Zartan leader, who is watching Earth's destruction unfold from his flagship. He watches with a smug smile, thinking he has crushed the human spirit. He broadcasts his final warning to the people of Earth: we have destroyed your cities. Your people are nothing more than insects. We will finish what we've started. Surrender now, and you may be spared. The camera shifts back to Sarah and her team. They know the truth, they may be the underdogs in this war, but they are far from helpless. They may have lost cities and resources, but they still have something more important: each other, their wits, and an unbreakable will to survive. With the fate of the world hanging by a thread, the team moves into action. The first 8 to 10 minutes are filled with suspense as we see Sarah and her team work quickly to prepare for their counterattack. They don't have the resources of the Zartans, but they have something even more powerful: the heart of humanity. Sarah begins organizing her team, assembling every soldier, every scientist, and every willing person to come up with a strategy. In these early moments, we see their ingenuity, their resilience, and their ability to think on their feet. They gather their most advanced weapons, prepare cloaking devices, and begin to form a plan to strike back at the heart of the Zartan invasion. There's no time to waste. The camera cuts between Sarah's team preparing and the devastation unfolding around the world. We see survivors in the streets, struggling to find shelter and safety, while Sarah and her team work in the shadows to fight back. The tension is unbearable, and the stakes are higher than ever. As the camera focuses on Sarah, she knows this will be their hardest fight yet. The Zartans may have the superior technology, but humanity has something they don't, an unwavering will to fight for survival. Sarah has no illusions about the danger ahead, but she knows one thing for sure: the Zartans won't take Earth without a fight. Not if she has anything to say about it. With the first part of the story setting the stage for an epic battle, the audience is left hanging, knowing that Earth's fate now rests in the hands of a few brave humans who are willing to defy the odds. The tension continues to build, ensuring that viewers will want to stay tuned to see how this war unfolds. The suspense is high, the stakes are monumental, and the humans are ready to strike back. The Zartans, arrogant in their victory, made a critical mistake. They believed Earth's extreme climates and dangerous wildlife would make it impossible for humans to survive, let alone fight back. In their minds, Earth was a harsh, wild place, a death world, perfect for scavenging, but far too dangerous for the Zartan race to inhabit. They thought their superior technology and well-coordinated invasion would easily crush humanity. They underestimated the resilience of Earth's inhabitants. The Zartans' miscalculation was simple: they failed to recognize the true strength of the human spirit. What they saw as a death world, humans saw as a place of survival, a world that had shaped them to be resourceful, adaptable, and relentless. Earth's unpredictability and ferocity were not weaknesses, they were the very things that made humans so dangerous. As the Zartans continued their attacks, the human military leadership, thought to be wiped out, was quietly regrouping. Sarah Hunter, now a key figure in the resistance, stands at the forefront of this hidden army. The military base, previously overwhelmed by the alien onslaught, has transformed into a hub of survival and defiance. The soldiers who remain are battered and bruised, but they are far from broken. They are determined to fight back, using whatever means they can. Despite the overwhelming power of the Zartan forces, a small, determined group of humans begins to strike back. These fighters are not the well-equipped, heavily trained forces the Zartans had initially expected. Instead, they are a ragtag group of survivors, soldiers, scientists, and civilians, who have learned to survive in a world that no one thought they could conquer. The humans use the very terrain that the Zartans see as an obstacle to their advantage. Sarah leads a group of these survivors on a daring mission deep into enemy territory. They are armed with cloaking devices, technology stolen from the Zartans themselves. This technology, once thought to be out of reach for humans, allows them to become invisible to the alien sensors and avoid detection. It's a game changer. Sarah and her team can now move undetected, striking at the heart of the Zartan forces with precision and speed. Using guerrilla tactics, the humans carry out a series of sabotage missions. They target Zartan supply lines, destroy communication arrays, and take down energy grids, all critical parts of the alien invasion machine. These attacks are swift, efficient, and leave the Zartans scrambling to recover. Each small victory chips away at the sense of invincibility the aliens once held. The humans are no longer sitting back waiting for death, they are actively fighting back, making every blow count. However, the fight is far from easy. The human forces are outgunned and outmanned. Every mission carries the risk of devastating losses. Sarah's team, though resilient, knows that each success could come at a high price. As the battle rages on, the emotional stakes continue to rise. During one particularly dangerous mission, Sarah's team is tasked with infiltrating a heavily guarded Zartan base. The objective is to plant explosives to disable one of the aliens' main power plants. The mission is critical. Without the power plant, the Zartans would lose a significant portion of their combat capabilities. The team is briefed, their strategy set, and the attack begins. As they sneak through the enemy lines, cloaked and invisible, the tension is palpable. The team knows that a single misstep could mean certain death. But just as they reach the core of the facility, disaster strikes. One of the soldiers, Bonner, a veteran and trusted mentor to Sarah, takes a hit. He's caught in the open, and despite his best efforts, he's mortally wounded by a blast from a Zartan energy weapon. In that moment, time seems to slow. Sarah's heart sinks as she watches Bonner fall, his body crumpling under the blast. She can hear his voice in her mind, urging her to keep going, to finish the mission. But there is no time to mourn. The enemy is closing in fast, and the team has to act quickly to complete their objective. Bonner's death is a devastating blow, but it also lights a fire in Sarah's heart. Bonner was not just a mentor, he was a symbol of everything the resistance stood for. His death transforms the mission into something much more personal for Sarah. The stakes are no longer just about survival, they are about revenge, about ensuring that Bonner's sacrifice means something. As she orders the explosives to be planted, she vows to carry out this mission in his honor, no matter what it takes. The remaining team members rally around Sarah. Despite the overwhelming odds, they finish their mission, setting the explosives and destroying the Zartan power plant. The explosion that follows sends shockwaves through the enemy ranks. It's a small victory, but for Sarah and her team, it's a victory that carries immense weight. The humans have shown the Zartans that they are not just survivors, they are fighters, willing to pay any price for victory. Back at the human base, Sarah reflects on the loss of Bonner, her grief mixed with a renewed determination. His death is a reminder that the cost of this war is high, but it also fuels her resolve. She knows that they are in the fight of their lives, but she refuses to let Bonner's sacrifice be in vain. With each passing day, the resistance grows stronger, and Sarah's leadership becomes more pivotal. As the humans continue to strike back, the Zartans begin to realize that Earth is not the helpless, primitive planet they believed it to be. Humans have found ways to turn their environment, once seen as an obstacle, into a powerful advantage. The Zartans may have advanced technology, but humans have something even more formidable, their will to survive and fight back. The emotional stakes in this chapter are intense. Bonner's death deepens the connection between Sarah and her team, making every action, every mission, more personal. The audience is now fully invested in the characters and their struggle. The humans, once underestimated, are proving they are a force to be reckoned with, and the Zartans are starting to understand that the war is far from over. This chapter sets the stage for the intense battles yet to come, as both sides prepare for a showdown that will determine Earth's future. As the war against the Zartans rages on, the human resistance is running low on both resources and manpower. The constant barrage of alien attacks has taken a toll on Earth's defenders, and the fight for survival has become a desperate struggle. But in the midst of this chaos, there is a glimmer of hope, a technological breakthrough that could turn the tide in humanity's favor. Dr. Elias Cole, a brilliant but reclusive scientist, has been working tirelessly on a secret project. For months, he has been perfecting a technology that could level the playing field between the Zartan superior forces and humanity's dwindling army. The device he has created is nothing short of revolutionary, a cloaking system that can render human ships and soldiers completely invisible to the alien sensors. With this technology, humans could infiltrate Zartan strongholds, strike at their most critical points, and perhaps, for the first time, have a fighting chance against their invaders. The camera zooms in on Dr. Cole's laboratory, where the cloaking device is being tested for the first time. Sarah and her team stand in the background, watching in awe as a small prototype ship becomes invisible before their eyes. The air is thick with anticipation, and for the first time in what feels like forever, there is a sense of hope. The cloaking device is not just a piece of technology, it is the key to humanity's survival. With it, they can strike the Zartans where it hurts the most, right under their noses. Dr. Cole explains the significance of the device to the team, his voice filled with pride and caution. This technology, he says, is our lifeline. The Zartans rely heavily on their advanced sensor systems. If we can move undetected, we can penetrate their defenses and take out their most important targets. But we have to be careful. If they detect even the slightest anomaly, they will turn Earth into a graveyard. The cloaking device is a game changer, but it comes with risks. The Zartan sensors are incredibly advanced, and even the smallest mistake could result in the mission's failure. As the human resistance prepares to take action, Sarah knows that this mission will be their most dangerous yet. But she also understands that without it, humanity has no chance of victory. The time for small skirmishes is over, now, it's time for a decisive strike. With the cloaking technology in hand, the remaining human forces begin to assemble for their most daring mission. To infiltrate the Zartan mothership and plant a device that will destroy their central command. This mothership is the heart of the Zartan invasion force, controlling all communications and operations. If the humans can destroy it, they will cripple the Zartans' ability to coordinate their attacks and disrupt their war effort. It's a high-stakes mission, and the outcome could determine the future of Earth. The team is small but determined. As they gather around the planning table, Sarah can feel the weight of the task ahead. Her soldiers are exhausted, their numbers dwindling with each passing day. Yet, despite the loss of so many good men and women, there is a fire in their eyes. They are ready to fight, ready to face the unknown, knowing that their mission could be the last chance to save their planet. The plan is simple, but it is also incredibly dangerous. Using the cloaking technology, the human team will infiltrate the Zartan mothership undetected. Once inside, they will plant a device in the heart of the ship that will disable its central command and send it into a catastrophic meltdown. The countdown will begin the moment they set foot on the ship. With no time to waste, they must execute the mission flawlessly. One mistake, and the entire resistance could be wiped out in seconds. As Sarah listens to the plan, she reflects on the emotional toll this war has taken on her. She remembers the faces of her fallen comrades, Bonner, the mentor she lost during the earlier mission, and the countless others who sacrificed their lives for this cause. Every victory feels bittersweet, and every loss cuts deeper than the last. The weight of their deaths is a constant presence in her mind, a reminder that every decision she makes could cost someone their life. But despite the pain, Sarah knows that she must keep pushing forward. Earth's survival depends on her and the team's resolve. As the camera focuses on Sarah's face, the tension in the room becomes palpable. The team is ready, but the fear of failure lingers in the air. They are about to face the Zartans on their home turf, surrounded by overwhelming forces. If they fail, the consequences will be dire, not just for them, but for every human left on Earth. But in Sarah's eyes, there is no other choice. She can't afford to fail. The final preparations are made, and the team suits up, ready to embark on the most dangerous mission of their lives. They board the cloaked ships, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that this could be their last mission. As the ships take off, the tension builds. The audience is on the edge of their seats, wondering whether the humans can pull off this impossible mission. Will the cloaking technology be enough to fool the Zartans? Will they succeed in planting the device and crippling the enemy's command? Or will they be caught and annihilated before they can complete their mission? As the cloaked ships slip silently into the void, the audience can feel the weight of the moment. This is a mission that could decide the fate of humanity. The suspense is unbearable, the tension rising with every passing second. As Sarah and her team approach the Zartan mothership, the stakes couldn't be higher. The audience is left wondering whether humanity's last hope will succeed or fall in the face of overwhelming odds. The chapter ends on a cliffhanger, with the team approaching the mothership, cloaked and ready to strike. The future of Earth is in their hands, and as the mission begins, the audience is left on edge, eagerly awaiting what happens next. The tension is thick, the stakes are higher than ever, and the team must face the full force of the Zartans to save their world. As the war against the Zartans rages on, the human resistance is running low on both resources and manpower. The constant barrage of alien attacks has taken a toll on Earth's defenders, and the fight for survival has become a desperate struggle. But in the midst of this chaos, there is a glimmer of hope, a technological breakthrough that could turn the tide in humanity's favor. Dr. Elias Cole, a brilliant but reclusive scientist, has been working tirelessly on a secret project. For months, he has been perfecting a technology that could level the playing field between the Zartan superior forces and humanity's dwindling army. The device he has created is nothing short of revolutionary, a cloaking system that can render human ships and soldiers completely invisible to the alien sensors. With this technology, humans could infiltrate Zartan strongholds, strike at their most critical points, and perhaps, for the first time, have a fighting chance against their invaders. The camera zooms in on Dr. Cole's laboratory, where the cloaking device is being tested for the first time. Sarah and her team stand in the background, watching in awe as a small prototype ship becomes invisible before their eyes. The air is thick with anticipation, and for the first time in what feels like forever, there is a sense of hope. The cloaking device is not just a piece of technology, it is the key to humanity's survival. With it, they can strike the Zartans where it hurts the most, right under their noses. Dr. Cole explains the significance of the device to the team, his voice filled with pride and caution. This technology, he says, is our lifeline. The Zartans rely heavily on their advanced sensor systems. If we can move undetected, we can penetrate their defenses and take out their most important targets. But we have to be careful. If they detect even the slightest anomaly, they will turn Earth into a graveyard. The cloaking device is a game changer, but it comes with risks. The Zartan sensors are incredibly advanced, and even the smallest mistake could result in the mission's failure. As the human resistance prepares to take action, Sarah knows that this mission will be their most dangerous yet. But she also understands that without it, humanity has no chance of victory. The time for small skirmishes is over, now, it's time for a decisive strike. With the cloaking technology in hand, the remaining human forces begin to assemble for their most daring mission, to infiltrate the Zartan mothership and plant a device that will destroy their central command. This mothership is the heart of the Zartan invasion force, controlling all communications and operations. If the humans can destroy it, they will cripple the Zartans' ability to coordinate their attacks and disrupt their war effort. It's a high-stakes mission, and the outcome could determine the future of Earth. The team is small but determined. As they gather around the planning table, Sarah can feel the weight of the task ahead. Her soldiers are exhausted, their numbers dwindling with each passing day. Yet, despite the loss of so many good men and women, there is a fire in their eyes. They are ready to fight, ready to face the unknown, knowing that their mission could be the last chance to save their planet. The plan is simple, but it is also incredibly dangerous. Using the cloaking technology, the human team will infiltrate the Zartan mothership undetected. Once inside, they will plant a device in the heart of the ship that will disable its central command and send it into a catastrophic meltdown. The countdown will begin the moment they set foot on the ship. With no time to waste, they must execute the mission flawlessly. One mistake, and the entire resistance could be wiped out in seconds. As Sarah listens to the plan, she reflects on the emotional toll this war has taken on her. She remembers the faces of her fallen comrades, Bonner, the mentor she lost during the earlier mission, and the countless others who sacrificed their lives for this cause. Every victory feels bittersweet, and every loss cuts deeper than the last. The weight of their deaths is a constant presence in her mind, a reminder that every decision she makes could cost someone their life. But despite the pain, Sarah knows that she must keep pushing forward. Earth's survival depends on her and the team's resolve. As the camera focuses on Sarah's face, the tension in the room becomes palpable. The team is ready, but the fear of failure lingers in the air. They are about to face the Zartans on their home turf, surrounded by overwhelming forces. If they fail, the consequences will be dire, not just for them, but for every human left on Earth. But in Sarah's eyes, there is no other choice. She can't afford to fail. The final preparations are made, and the team suits up, ready to embark on the most dangerous mission of their lives. They board the cloaked ships, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that this could be their last mission. As the ships take off, the tension builds. The audience is on the edge of their seats, wondering whether the humans can pull off this impossible mission. Will the cloaking technology be enough to fool the Zartans? Will they succeed in planting the device and crippling the enemy's command? Or will they be caught and annihilated before they can complete their mission? As the cloaked ships slip silently into the void, the audience can feel the weight of the moment. This is a mission that could decide the fate of humanity. The suspense is unbearable, the tension rising with every passing second. As Sarah and her team approach the Zartan mothership, the stakes couldn't be higher. The audience is left wondering whether humanity's last hope will succeed or fall in the face of overwhelming odds. The chapter ends on a cliffhanger, with the team approaching the mothership, cloaked and ready to strike. The future of Earth is in their hands, and as the mission begins, the audience is left on edge, eagerly awaiting what happens next. The tension is thick, the stakes are higher than ever, and the team must face the full force of the Zartans to save their world. The quiet hum of cloaked ships filled the air as the human forces, hidden in plain sight, made their final approach to the Zartan mothership. Every soldier knew this would be their most dangerous mission yet. There would be no second chances. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. The time for hiding was over. Now was the time to strike back. As the cloaked warships powered up their engines, they slipped silently through the vast expanse of space. Sarah Hunter, the fearless leader, stood at the helm of the lead ship. Her hands gripped the controls, eyes focused, every inch of her body ready for the battle ahead. Her team was ready, but the anticipation weighed heavily on them all. They had one shot at this, and failure was not an option. Suddenly, the battle erupted. A thunderous roar echoed through space as the Zartan fleet detected the incoming human ships. In an instant, the cloaking devices were disabled, and the human vessels came into full view. The Zartans' advanced sensors had found them. The battle had begun. The humans unleashed everything they had, attacking the massive mothership with everything from laser cannons to missile strikes. The Zartan fleet retaliated, their warships lighting up the darkness with deadly precision. The human warships darted through space like agile predators, narrowly dodging incoming fire. Their cloaking technology had given them the element of surprise, but now they had to fight for their lives. The Zartans were relentless, their ships firing in every direction, trying to destroy the human ships before they could even get close. The dogfights in space were fast and furious. Every missile launched, every laser blast fired, was a test of the human force's resolve. Sarah's pulse raced as she piloted her ship through the chaos, narrowly avoiding an enemy barrage. She could see the explosion of a nearby Zartan vessel as it was struck by a well-aimed shot from one of her comrades. The sound of each blast, the hum of her ship's engine, and the bright flashes of destruction filled the air. It was a battle like no other. It was chaos. But it was the humans' fight now. On the ground, the battle raged even fiercer. The Zartans' advanced AI drones and heavily armored soldiers began to flood the Earth's surface, intent on overwhelming the last pockets of human resistance. The humans, however, were not going down without a fight. Using the terrain to their advantage, they launched guerrilla attacks, hiding in the forests, caves, and abandoned cities, attacking from unexpected angles. Sarah led her team on the ground, fighting hand-to-hand with the Zartan soldiers. The humans may have been outnumbered, but they fought with a ferocity the Zartans could not understand. Every human fighter knew the stakes. The Earth was their home, and they were ready to die for it. The clanging of weapons, the sound of punches landing, and the sharp hiss of Zartan drones being destroyed filled the air. The human soldiers, though vastly outgunned, fought with everything they had. Sarah's leadership kept them focused, even as they encountered waves of AI drones and robotic enemies. She led by example, charging into the fray, her rifle blazing as she took down enemy after enemy. The humans used their cloaking devices to sneak up on the Zartans, ambushing them and taking out key targets before disappearing back into the shadows. But despite their determination and ingenuity, the humans could not avoid the cost of war. With every victory, there was a price. The enemy was powerful, and their weapons were deadly. As the battle raged on, the losses began to pile up. One of the hardest losses came when Bonner, Sarah's mentor and friend, was killed in an explosion during a crucial mission. He had been by Sarah's side from the very beginning, guiding her through the darkest moments of the war. Now, he was gone. The moment hit Sarah like a physical blow. Bonner's death left a gaping hole in her heart. He had taught her everything she knew about leadership, about sacrifice. He had been the first to believe in her when no one else did. And now, she had to keep going without him. It was a painful, soul-crushing loss, but it only strengthened Sarah's resolve. She knew that Bonner would want her to continue the fight. The humans couldn't afford to stop now, not when they were so close to victory. As the battle raged, Sarah stood tall. Her grief was buried deep within her, but her leadership never wavered. She was the rock that held the human resistance together, and her soldiers followed her without question. They knew that every second spent mourning was a second the Zartans were gaining ground. There was no time for weakness. Not now. Not when Earth was on the line. The pace of the battle quickened as the human forces pressed forward. The humans were not giving up. They pushed through the pain, through the fear, and through the loss. Every fallen comrade made them more determined to win. The enemy may have been technologically superior, but the humans had something the Zartans did not: heart. The camera focuses on Sarah's face as she leads the charge, her expression one of unshakable determination. She can feel the weight of the mission pressing down on her, but she refuses to falter. The war is far from over, but this is the turning point. The humans have struck back, and they are making their presence known. As the fight continues, the audience is on the edge of their seats. The fast-paced action, the close-quarters combat, and the emotional stakes create a whirlwind of suspense. Each moment feels more intense than the last, and the outcome is still uncertain. Will the humans succeed in their mission, or will the Zartans overwhelm them? The battle ends in a temporary stalemate, but the humans have shown that they are not to be underestimated. The tension remains high, as the audience knows that this is only the beginning of a long and grueling fight. The humans have struck back, but the road to victory is still long and fraught with danger. The clash has just begun. The battle for Earth was far from over, but for a fleeting moment, it seemed as though the human forces might finally gain the upper hand. The Zartan mothership was heavily damaged, and the relentless assault from Earth's resistance had dealt the aliens a serious blow. The mood was tense but hopeful. The humans were beginning to believe they could win this war. But hope quickly turned to heartbreak. The first sign of trouble came when a trusted member of the human resistance, Lieutenant Samuel Reyes, disappeared from the base during the night. Sarah Hunter, still reeling from the loss of Bonner, dismissed it at first. People needed rest, she reasoned. But as the hours passed and Reyes didn't return, unease settled over her. Something wasn't right. The truth came crashing down when Elias Cole, the scientist who had designed the cloaking device, uncovered a shocking revelation: Reyes had betrayed them. It wasn't just a case of desertion, he had been secretly communicating with the Zartans. In exchange for promises of power and influence after Earth's fall, Reyes had sold out his comrades. His actions had led to the capture of several human soldiers, including some of Sarah's closest allies. The betrayal felt like a physical blow to Sarah. Reyes had been a trusted member of her team. They had fought side by side, and yet, in his desire for power, he had turned on them. The implications were far-reaching. Not only had they lost valuable soldiers, but their strategic plans had been compromised. The humans were vulnerable now, exposed to the Zartan's vengeance. The tension between the remaining members of the human forces was palpable. Some wanted to leave Reyes to his fate, but Sarah was not one to abandon anyone. No matter the circumstances. She knew she had to rescue the captured soldiers, not just for their sake but for the survival of the entire resistance. The traitors' actions had made their mission even harder, but it also united them with renewed resolve. The humans could not afford to fracture. Not now. Sarah led a daring rescue mission to recover the captured soldiers. The team infiltrated a heavily guarded Zartan facility on Earth's surface, where the prisoners were being held. The operation was dangerous, and they had little time. The longer they waited, the greater the risk of the Zartans discovering their plans. The night was filled with tension as Sarah and her team carefully made their way through enemy lines, using stealth and quick thinking to avoid detection. Every step they took was a step closer to disaster, but Sarah's determination never wavered. The fate of the captured soldiers, and the future of humanity, hung in the balance. As the team broke into the facility, they were met with fierce resistance. The Zartans had set traps, anticipating human action. The soldiers fought valiantly, but the emotional weight of the betrayal was heavy on their shoulders. They had to push forward, but every victory felt bittersweet. Sarah found herself face to face with Reyes during the mission. His eyes betrayed no remorse as he stood among the Zartans, overseeing the human prisoners. He had clearly made his choice. In a tense confrontation, Sarah tried to appeal to the man she once trusted, but Reyes was beyond redemption. He had already sold his soul to the enemy. With a heavy heart, she gave the order to move forward and free the prisoners. Reyes' fate was sealed. The rescue mission was a success, but the damage was done. Not only had they lost valuable allies, but the betrayal had shaken the morale of the remaining soldiers. Trust, the one thing that had held the resistance together, was now in question. The team had to come to terms with the fact that their enemies were not just the Zartans, they were also among them. The emotional turmoil was as damaging as the physical wounds the soldiers had sustained. Amidst the chaos of the betrayal and rescue mission, Elias uncovered a horrifying secret: the Zartans had developed a doomsday weapon capable of destroying Earth's atmosphere. This weapon, unlike anything the humans had ever seen, could wipe out all life on Earth in a matter of hours. It was a bomb with the power to end the planet's ability to sustain life forever. The weapon had been hidden within the Zartan mothership, and if it was activated, humanity's fight would be over before it ever had a chance to succeed. The clock was ticking. Elias worked feverishly, decoding the alien schematics and tracing the weapon's location. The Zartans had kept their secret well hidden, but now, the fate of the entire world depended on the humans' ability to find and destroy the weapon before it was too late. Every second counted. Sarah stood in the war room, staring at the countdown clock on the screen. The seconds ticked by, each one a reminder of the stakes. She looked at her team, at the faces of the soldiers who had fought so hard, so fiercely, to protect Earth. They had already sacrificed so much, and now, they were facing their greatest challenge yet. The stakes had never been higher. "We don't have much time," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the pressure building inside her. "We take this weapon down now, or we lose everything." With no other option, the team readied themselves for one final assault on the Zartan mothership. But the risk was greater than ever. Not only would they be up against the full might of the Zartan fleet, but they now had to destroy a weapon that could obliterate all of humanity. The odds were stacked against them. As Sarah and her team geared up for the mission, they couldn't help but think of everything they had lost: Bonner, their comrades, and now, the trust that had held them together. But there was no time for regret. The war was far from over, and humanity's survival depended on their resolve. The betrayal had torn them apart, but in the end, it had made them stronger. Together, they would face the Zartans and whatever else the enemy had in store for them. But the real battle, one for Earth's future, was just beginning. The day of reckoning had arrived. The human resistance, battered and bruised, prepared for one final, desperate assault on the Zartan mothership. The stakes had never been higher. With Earth's future hanging by a thread, the remaining human forces had only one goal: to take down the Zartans and destroy their doomsday weapon. There was no room for failure. This was humanity's last stand. The final battle began with a deafening roar as the human fleet, cloaked and ready for the fight of their lives, launched a full-scale assault on the Zartan mothership. Orbital bombardments rained down on Earth's cities, leveling entire urban areas in a series of violent explosions. The very air trembled as the Zartan ships fired their devastating weapons, creating a hellish landscape on Earth. The Zartans were determined to wipe out humanity once and for all. But the humans were just as determined to survive. On the ground, fierce combat erupted as human soldiers, equipped with cloaking technology and the remnants of their stolen weapons, engaged in brutal skirmishes against Zartan soldiers and AI drones. Each battle felt like a war within a war. The humans were fighting for more than just their lives, they were fighting for the future of their species. Despite the overwhelming odds, the human forces pressed on. Sarah Hunter, their fearless leader, stood at the front, rallying her troops with every ounce of strength she had left. Her determination was unshakable. This wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about proving that humanity would not bow to alien tyranny. They would fight until their last breath if that's what it took. Amid the chaos, Sarah and Dr. Elias Cole, the brilliant scientist who had designed the cloaking technology, made their way to the Zartan flagship. Their mission was clear: they had to reach the central control room and disable the doomsday weapon that threatened to destroy Earth's atmosphere. But the journey would be anything but easy. As Sarah and Elias infiltrated the mothership, they found themselves fighting not just against alien soldiers, but against the most dangerous enemy of all, the Zartan AI. These were no ordinary machines. The Zartan's artificial intelligence was ruthless and incredibly advanced. The AI soldiers were equipped with weapons far beyond anything humanity had seen, and they fought with cold, calculating precision. The battle inside the mothership was fierce. High-speed chases through narrow corridors, explosive firefights, and daring escapes made the situation feel like something out of a nightmare. Every step they took brought them closer to the heart of the Zartan ship, but it also brought them closer to death. The team was exhausted, their resources nearly depleted, but they had no choice. The mission had to succeed. Sarah led the charge, her heart pounding in her chest as she ducked and dodged enemy fire. Elias was close behind her, working furiously to hack into the Zartan systems. They were making progress, but time was running out. The countdown to the weapon's activation was almost at zero, and if they didn't succeed in stopping it, humanity would be wiped out in an instant. As they neared the central control room, the AI soldiers became more aggressive, blocking their path at every turn. Sarah and Elias were forced to engage in hand-to-hand combat with the AI. The fight was brutal. The AI soldiers were fast and precise, but the humans had something the machines didn't: heart. Despite their technological superiority, the Zartan's creations were not prepared for the sheer willpower of the human spirit. Every punch, every strike, brought them closer to their goal. But the AI were relentless. Just when it seemed like they might be overwhelmed, the human forces outside the mothership made their final push, distracting the Zartans long enough for Sarah and Elias to reach the control room. Inside, the doomsday weapon loomed before them. Its energy core pulsed with terrifying power, ready to unleash destruction on a global scale. The clock ticked down with agonizing slowness, and the room was filled with the hum of the deadly weapon's machinery. There was no time to waste. Elias worked quickly, attempting to disable the weapon, but the systems were far more complicated than he had anticipated. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he hacked into the alien tech, his fingers flying over the console in a blur. But despite his best efforts, the countdown continued. The weapon was nearly primed. In that moment, Sarah made a decision. There was no way to stop the weapon without destroying the entire control room, and she was the only one who could do it. With a grim expression, she turned to Elias. "Get out of here," she said, her voice firm. "I'll hold it off. You have to finish this." Elias protested, but Sarah was resolute. There was no time for argument. With one final glance at her teammate, she activated the ship's emergency override, locking the room down. "Go, now." Elias hesitated, but he knew there was no other choice. He sprinted towards the exit, leaving Sarah behind. Sarah stood alone in the control room, her heart pounding in her chest. The weapon was mere moments from activation. She reached for the control panel, her fingers trembling as she placed them on the final switch. She knew that by doing this, she would never make it out alive. But it was the only way to save Earth. With a deep breath, Sarah activated the final command. The explosion was instantaneous. The entire central control room erupted in a blinding flash of light, and the weapon was destroyed. Outside, the Zartan mothership shook violently. The weapon's destruction sent a shockwave through the entire fleet, crippling their forces and causing their ships to malfunction. The human forces had won. Earth was safe. But at what cost? Sarah Hunter, the woman who had led humanity to victory, sacrificed herself to ensure their survival. Her courage and sacrifice would be remembered for generations to come. Her legacy would live on in the hearts of those who fought alongside her, and in the victory they had achieved together. The final battle had been won, but the scars of war would remain forever. Humanity had triumphed over the tyranny of the Zartans, and the AI that had once threatened to dominate them had been defeated. But Sarah's death served as a painful reminder that true victory often comes at a high price. The battle was over. The smoke of war had finally cleared, and Earth stood victorious. The Zartans, once so sure of their superiority, had been defeated. Their forces lay scattered across the battlefield, their fleets crippled, and their mothership in ruins. The doomsday weapon that had threatened to end humanity was no more. But the price of victory had been steep. In the aftermath, the survivors stood among the wreckage of war, feeling both relief and sorrow. The devastation was beyond what anyone had imagined. Cities lay in ruins, their skyscrapers reduced to rubble. The once thriving cities now stood silent, as if mourning the lives lost in the battle. Humanity had fought against the most advanced alien race the world had ever seen, and they had won. But victory had come at a great cost. Countless soldiers and civilians had died. The loss of Sarah Hunter, their fearless leader, was the most painful of all. She had sacrificed herself to ensure the survival of Earth, her bravery now etched into the very heart of the human resistance. The survivors gathered at a memorial, a simple yet powerful monument dedicated to Sarah and the many others who had fallen. Elias Cole, the brilliant scientist who had helped make humanity's victory possible, stood at the front. He gazed solemnly at the names inscribed on the stone, a sense of deep loss in his eyes. But there was also a spark of determination. The war was over, but the work was just beginning. In the quiet moments that followed, Elias spoke, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "We did it," he said, his words echoing in the stillness. "We defeated the Zartans. We proved to the universe that Earth will never again be seen as weak. Our ancestors fought for this planet, and we've honored their sacrifice. We will rebuild, and we will make sure that no one ever dares to threaten us again." His words were more than a promise, they were a declaration. Earth had been brought to the brink of annihilation, but humanity had refused to be crushed. They had fought back with everything they had, and now, standing among the ruins of their once great cities, they would rise again. Stronger. United. And ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw at them. As the survivors turned to rebuild their homes and lives, a new sense of purpose swept through them. The devastation they had faced had been unimaginable, but it had forged them into something stronger. No longer would Earth be a target for alien invaders. The Zartans had underestimated humanity's resilience, and now, the galaxy knew better. Elias walked away from the memorial, his steps slow but resolute. He knew that there was much work ahead. The rebuilding process would take years, maybe even decades, but humanity had proven that they could overcome even the greatest of challenges. They had learned the true strength of their species, and it was more than enough to rebuild and thrive. The legacy of Sarah and all the fallen heroes would never be forgotten. Their sacrifices had shaped the future of Earth, and their names would live on in every victory, every achievement, and every moment of peace that came from their efforts. The new generation would grow up knowing that they owed their freedom and survival to those who had given everything for them. In the final moments of the story, we see humanity standing tall, not just on Earth, but ready to take its place in the wider universe. The galaxy had seen the might of Earth's warriors, and it would never forget the fierce, resilient species that had fought against impossible odds to protect their home. The camera zooms out, showing Earth from space. The blue planet, scarred but not broken, spins slowly in the vastness of space. It's a new dawn for humanity. No longer will Earth be a helpless target for alien conquerors. With the Zartans defeated, and their empire shattered, humanity is ready to rebuild and rise to new heights. The final scene shows humanity reaching out, exploring new frontiers, and making alliances with other species. The scars of war may still remain, but the spirit of humanity, its ability to survive, to fight, and to rebuild, is stronger than ever. And as Earth prepares to take its place among the stars, it becomes clear that this is only the beginning. The universe now knows the truth: humanity will never again be an easy target. They will fight. They will survive. And they will lead. The story ends with a hopeful note, a promise of a brighter future, where Earth, once a dying world on the brink of extinction, rises to become a powerful force in the galaxy. The lessons of the past, of sacrifice, of courage, and of unity, will guide humanity as they chart a course into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. The universe has learned to fear the strength of humanity. And now, with the dawn of a new era, Earth will not only survive but thrive. The fight may be over, but the story of humanity's rebirth has just begun.